Scully finds herself reflecting on all things. When an old flame reemerges through pure chance, her life, her choices, and her future are called into question.
Events lead her to a spiritual awakening, and more questions arise. Do we choose our paths, or are we fated to follow something unseen?
This is not happening.
Here we are, man. Nearing the end of season 7. We only got like 6 in the can to do here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It is
crazy.
Kind of crazy. It's just been rolling along here, but we're at the point where the show thinks it's over or about to be over.
About to be over.
Yeah. They don't think there's 2 more seasons on the horizon.
I'm not sure when that changed, but they had to think something obviously before the season ended because they just abduct Mulder. That's not how they're going to end the show.
No, that would be a hell of a cliffhanger.
What happens to Mulder?
I guess that's the end of the show, folks. I guess you have to bring us back now. Yeah, but in this case, the plus side, I guess, for the actors is that they're getting a chance to do some things that they have always wanted to do. For example, in this case, Gillian Anderson has always wanted to direct for the show and write for the show, it turns out. So all things, the show we are going to cover tonight on This Is Not Happening, another X-Files podcast, is the show. So all things, the 17th episode of season 7, written and directed by Gillian Anderson. Worth noting, this is the first time in the entire series a woman has directed the show. I'm honestly surprised by that.
A little bit. I know they change it up a little bit in the newer seasons for, I would say, obvious. It's a different work climate now, so that's good.
I think, and she was instrumental in making that happen. Yeah. In fact, I think she kind of figured this is not what I want. Yeah.
That was one of those things that she has said recently, where she's not going to come back as Gillian Anderson or as Dana Scully. She has no plans to, unless it would the offshoot chance that they get some more diverse writing staff and directors, and it would have to be the right situation for her to come back, even though she has been very, very adamant she's not. And the current reboot talk may have her interested. So we'll see how that turns out.
I mean, not to dive into that topic too much, but I actually wouldn't really want her to come back. Like, I understand that fan service is a huge thing, but I mean, I actually felt like seasons 10 and 11 were kind of a letdown. Like they did not have the old energy of the first bunch of seasons. They were a different kind of entertainment, but it's like they're getting on. They're not exactly running down the alleys chasing after the bad guys. The shows became much different. So if that's your bag, then fine. But for most people, I think they looked at it going, this doesn't feel the same for some reason. So to wheel in Gillian Anderson, or I should say Dana Scully, played by Gillian Anderson, for the reboot, I think the only way you could do it would be episode 1, where she gives, she gives them the blessing, from one agent to another, that they can do this thing. But I really don't.
And that's pretty much all I would imagine that being. Yeah. I don't imagine Mulder and Scully back for more action. I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm okay with that. I think it would very much, like you're saying, be a different show at that point. Geriatric X-Files. But,
But that's not what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about all things. We're here
to talk about all things, which oddly enough doesn't include this.
It includes everything but that topic. Yeah, everything else. So the first draft of this script, totally penned by Gillian Anderson, came in 15 pages too long. And it did not have a conclusion. So I think she kind of wrote herself into a corner, and happily, Carter and Spotnitz helped her to finish it off. I gather in the original script, Scully and Watterson come close to having an affair, but they do not actually do the deed. So that was changed in the final script. That was confirmed that they canonically do have that sexual relation, and that is what drives a wedge to that family.
Yeah. They leave it a little ambiguous.
They do.
And I'm okay with that.
Oh, there's a lot of ambiguity in this episode.
Yeah. What means anything in this episode?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with her either having the affair or at least having an emotional affair. That makes sense. It tracks with her character, honestly. She's got daddy issues. She's been with at least 2 superiors in her career. So I'm okay with that. Whether or not we have a definitive answer is fine with me.
Yeah, I was probably going to say this for final thoughts, but I thought it'd be worth rolling out now. Is this idea, I know, I love it when they just parachute in new characters. I love that.
Right. Never heard this guy's name.
No, exactly. Like, this is seemingly such a pivotal moment in Scully's history that she was going to go off and be a doctor, but she changed career paths and went into medicine pretty much because of the fallout of their infidelity. I get you can't have that from the beginning if you didn't envision that in the beginning, but I kind of wish they went another way.
Have a nugget of this.
Or drop it as a nugget earlier on, in season 3, intimate it, and then capitalize on it here. Like, there are probably other things they have dropped and picked up as plot points, but this one seems like such a huge one. And I don't think anyone was really in a position to override Gillian Anderson to say, no, I think maybe don't go this way.
Yeah. Here's the problem, I think, and I totally understand and agree with what you're saying. We're in season 7 of The X-Files, and I think, whether intended or not, the audience knows these characters very well. Mm-hmm. So it's very hard to innovate with a story like this.
Yeah.
So I can imagine, I don't know this for fact, but I can imagine she had to shoehorn, or they at this point at the end of the writing process, had to shoehorn in ways to make it work with whatever story that Scully had at that point. The problem with a 7-season show is that if you're trying to put characters in new light with a one-off episode, it's hard to do, because if it doesn't match who we think they are, the audience, then we're already a little bit detached from what's actually happening on screen, which isn't fair to the episode, but it is a hard place that she found herself in writing this episode, because, I mean, it's like Mulder and his fear of fire, right? That, at least that was season 1, but it never comes back. That's fine. If they tried to introduce it now, then it's like, wait a minute, who is this person we're talking about here?
If he turned into a pyromaniac, it'd be like, well, hold on a second. We know this thing about this guy. I'm going to have more to say about that particular topic a little later on, but do we want to delve into all of the things?
Yeah.
Is it time? Have we nattered on enough before the pre-show, as it were?
I think so.
I think so, too. So we open in darkness to the sound of a dripping sink. Scully, dressing herself in front of a mirror, prepares for her day as her character narrates a monologue. Outside, it is early morning, and the wind causes the branches of nearby trees to sway. Her words describe the unchosen paths that we abandon every day, moments rushing past to a defined end. How often do we stop to examine the path we're on, to investigate the reason all things happen? What if we could stop, pause to take stock of each precious moment before it passes? Could we see the other forks in the road and perhaps, Mike, take a different path? As she moves out of the bedroom, the camera tracks while the tap continues to drip in the background, and we see that Mulder sleeps in the bed. Was she in that bed but an hour before? Have they, as the saying goes, done it? Will we ever know? Credits.
Well, according to Gillian Anderson, yes.
Oh, really?
They did it.
They did it. Okay.
She confirmed that a few years ago. She says that was her intent.
Interesting. Okay. So this is, as I joked before we started recording, a sexual awakening.
A little bit. Yeah. I think so.
Okay. It's going to be all European and shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything to say on the opening there?
Other than it is a very different opening.
Very different.
We've got music very, very twinkly, very evocative music that's wistful. It underscores what she's telling us, the audience, in her monologue. And then, we're going to open back up with more sensual music to underscore the entire episode. So I'm on board. I like the idea. I'm very philosophical sometimes in my life. So this was interesting to me on first viewing. Like, okay, where is this going to go? Let's open the door of, do we really choose where we go in life? How would our lives be different had we taken the time to choose our path? I think that's a cool concept. So I'm on board.
Yep. I'm on board with the spirit of the episode. I will give it away a bit to say I don't think that the execution for the intent is there.
Okay.
That will become quite obvious as we get into it.
Uh-oh.
After the credits, we're coming back to a slide projector. Mulder is gearing up for an exciting presentation. On the boombox beside him, we hear a song that we will hear a lot of during this episode. This is The Sky is Broken by Moby. Mulder is really digging it. He is grooving on with the boombox playing, and Scully arrives with lunch and information that shuts down another one of their cases, an autopsy that she's conducted confirming a person died from overindulging in alcohol rather than ectoplasm. Scully tucks into her salad. Mulder begins his presentation on crop circles.
But that was merely prelude of what was to come. 3 years later, in 1994, even more complex formations occurred simultaneously on opposite ends of the English countryside with the Mandelbrot set where it's still there at its center. Then in 1997, even more complex formations occurred. And I'm not wearing any pants right now. You're not listening.
I am. I guess I just don't see the point.
The point is that a computer program has shown us that these are not just random, happenstance, coincidental occurrences. And that same program has predicted that in just 48 hours, even more complex formations are going to be laid down in a field near Abbury. 48 hours, Scully, but I wouldn't mind getting there earlier if you don't mind.
Getting where?
England. I got 2 tickets on a 5:30 flight.
Hold on, I still have to go over to the hospital and finish the final paperwork on that autopsy you had me do. And to be honest, it's Saturday, and I wouldn't mind, I don't know, taking a bath?
Whoa, looks like it's been a while since we checked into Scully taking a bath.
It's been about 3 years since we've had an altercation like this, Andrew.
Yeah.
Not since never again have we seen them disagree like this in the office.
Well, it makes for a nice, testy relationship. They can't always be getting along and having, sex in the morning. But this is this would crack open a longer conversation topic I don't really want to dive into. But all this to say that we are kind of spoiled in storytelling in TV land right now, where there is a real consideration for where the characters have been and where they're going. I feel like what I keep on seeing in X-Files through season 7 is characters that just sort of make these choices or make these decisions, and then they go ahead and turn right around the next episode, or they have these giant events that happen to them that are completely gone for the next episode. So every episode, unless it's kind of a mythology arc episode, is a very contained piece for the character. Yeah. So this is another one of those cases where suddenly Scully is not on board with the work they do. In the past, he's been like, I'm with you and I trust you and I'll do whatever because we're in this together. But, today apparently she's not in it. So that just makes her capricious, I guess.
She's thinking about all things right now. She's got stuff on her mind.
No, but
maybe she doesn't mean what she's saying, Andrew. She's upset right now. She's got something going on her mind. She's not really paying attention. And Mulder's back with his crop circle bullshit.
It's maybe they didn't have the talk after they finally did it this morning, and she's thinking
that sexual tension's there.
Are you just going to not talk about what we did this morning? That could be that.
We took the relationship to another level.
Yes. Well, Scully resists the temptation to go to England with Mulder, who is a bit put off that she's not as interested in crop circles as he is. She doesn't see what it has to do with her work. Why is he always chasing the next big thing? Why doesn't he ever stay still? Because he wouldn't know what he'd be missing. Touché, Agent Mulder. He leaves, and the slide projector continues to auto-advance, its clicking sound transitioning into the hospital where we will go next, as we will follow Scully to retrieve her autopsy results. At the hospital, a bored nurse is tapping her pencil on a desk, a visual and auditory gag that's being set up through most of this episode, patterns that we normally overlook that are being given supernatural importance for a reason that's yet to be explained. Scully arrives at the desk and asks for the autopsy results for Ms. Sizani. Do you know how to pronounce that?
I don't.
Miss Cesney here.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
I'm just going to call her Mrs. Syzygy because Syzygy is a fun episode that we did. And
that would be a nice little callback. Fan service, you know.
They should have done it. In super slow motion, accompanied by a musical sting of bells, woodwinds, and chimes, she's handed the folder. Signing for it, she walks away, briefly looking at the contents, but it's not the result she's looking for. In fact, it's a chest x-ray for a patient by the name of D. Waterston. She returns to the desk to report the error, and then almost casually asks if the D in Waterston stands for Dr. Daniel Waterston. And then, in complete disregard to patient confidentiality, the nurse tells her that, yes, indeed, that's the guy who was admitted yesterday. Yeah.
Not to mention, we have two major mistakes here. This is not okay.
Okay, what was the other one?
What hospital is the... What's the
this is the switching of the records.
Completely wrong, yeah. Damn, who is running the show here?
It won't be the last time, but these are unforgivable errors. The other ones are forgivable. Scully walks down to the room where she sees the doctor talking to a woman. This is Maggie Waterston, who will come to learn is Dr. Daniel Waterston's daughter. And the doctor, Kopikian, is telling Maggie that everything is looking okay, and wouldn't she like to go see the hospital cafeteria now so we can leave the patient alone and, able to be walked in on by complete strangers? The two leave. Scully surreptitiously hides, engrossed in a magazine entitled Feng Shui Life, which is perhaps one of my favorite moments in this episode.
Feng Shui.
Scully goes in to see a sleeping Daniel Waterston. In her face, we see that she is being transported to a different place and time as she silently observes Daniel, with light prayer bells being chimed regularly in the background. And I just imagine there's a Tibetan monk in the hallway going ding, ding.
I think they're trying to send us a message here. This episode has to do with Buddhism.
Possibly it does. It was her passion at this moment in her life, I think.
It was, I guess.
Among other things. But there's a term called diegetic audio where and we've talked about this before, I think. The idea that a sound is coming from a place legitimately. It's not just soundtrack. Like when it's music, I can accept it, It's the movie trope that follows us, the music that accompanies the scene. But when it's sound effects, I don't know, that throws me a bit. How did you take all this tippity-tappy, regular, syncopated stuff?
I mean, I get what they're trying to do here, so I was kind of along for the ride at that point. I don't think it was jarring, if that's what your question is.
I've been fine up until now, until the prayer bells. I mean, that's been like, literally, I could pass it off because you see a thing associated with it, right? Like the slide projector clicks, the drip taps, the woman tapping her pencil. That's fine. But this is just out of nowhere, so I'm less into that.
Yeah, a little bit different.
Garbage episode. Okay, so a single tear emerges from Daniel's eye as she's watching. She's interrupted from her meditation by Dr. Kopikian, who is obviously a bit suspicious. In the hallway, he tells her that Dr. Waterston has mentioned her to him. We learn from Kopikian that Dr. Waterston diagnosed and checked himself in, and Kopikian's testing confirmed this diagnosis. Kopikian has great respect for him, suggesting that Scully was lucky to have him as a teacher, and she agrees that she was, but she's not going to stick around to speak with him. She leaves. Back in her apartment, the wind has kept up as it causes a curtain stringer to bounce repeatedly against the wall, again popping in a regular rhythm. Scully's phone rings. It's a pissed-off Margaret Waterston, who is ticked that Scully just happened to stop by. Maggie's just passing on a message. Kopikian told Daniel that Scully was there, and now Daniel wants to see her. Maggie is clear. This doesn't mean she wants Scully in their lives, alluding to a bigger thing in the past. Scully does not commit to visit. She then receives another call from Mulder, who's packing for his British trip. He wants Scully to visit a group in D.C. who is doing their own research on crop circles. The work is sensitive and they won't fax it, but they would hand it off to Scully. As Mulder explains, Scully drifts off, the bouncing curtain stringer capturing her attention in slow motion. She doesn't commit to Mulder either, seemingly having decided, I guess, that she's going to go visiting Daniel. She asks him to leave the address on her answering machine, and she'll try. All right, so we got another slow motion sequence there. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah. I mean, not so much the slow motion aspect of it. I do like that they're calling attention to her noticing things, but like subconsciously noticing. I don't think she's actually, really there mentally. She's just in like a haze at certain points throughout her day. I mean, we all do it. That's fine. So I do like that. But my question is that after their little argument in the office there in the morning, do you think the best course of action is to be like, all right, well, if you're not going to do this, even though it's Mulder, local. Yeah, just you're not going to come with me on my trip, but I'm going to give you homework here because that seems like a good idea. Yeah, based on where you were mentally this morning.
I feel like he's got other people he could ask to do this, but I don't know. I mean, they got to keep him in the episode, right? Like he's got to check in every once in a while just so we don't forget he's part of the show or something. But I don't know. I'm not terrible with it.
No, it's goofy.
I mean, they needed a moment so that she can be in a reverie that he interrupts, and she needs a way out of, like, I guess of all the things that she's been confronted with today, she is not into the crop circles. But it's like, when you've got two things you don't want to do, but, one of them you don't want to do more. So you're like, well, I guess I'll do this other thing, because it's less objectionable than this first thing. So I'll go and do that.
Fair enough.
So we cut back to the hospital, a gurney in focus with the typical wobbly wheel. It passes, and we're with Scully as she goes to visit Daniel. She enters a room, seeing a happy family. Scully apologizing, having the wrong room, and the woman tells her that's okay. Scully lingers a moment and backs away, seeing that, in fact, she's in 304 when she needs to be in 306. She goes in, seeing Daniel and Maggie in that room. Maggie leaves, barely avoiding shouldering Scully as she goes. Inside, Scully and Daniel reconnect. We get a bunch of subtle exposition. Daniel disappointed that Scully left medicine to work at the FBI. Daniel making his own diagnosis. When Daniel takes Scully's hand and holds it intimately, we know everything we need to know about their history. When it looks like they're going to get into it again, the decision to join the FBI, Scully decides to leave, but it does feel like they're going to see each other again. You like the hot hand-holding action?
Oh, so hot.
Yeah.
She's good at that. That's what Scully does. That's her ultimate sign of affection in this show. It's just, let me grab your hand. She does it in the next episode as well.
Yeah, hand-holding is her love language. Yeah. Back in the car, Mulder calls Scully with the address he wants her to go to. She's driving and talking on the phone, and in a split second, she's almost in a horrendous car accident. A passing pedestrian, a woman in a light jacket, hat, with blonde hair, passes by the car, causing Scully to slam on the brakes just as a tractor trailer barrels past. It all happens in slow motion, the ticking of her turn signal, providing the soundtrack of the scene as we fade to commercial. So again, more slow motion, more syncopated sounds, providing the soundtrack. But now the introduction of Ghost Blonde, as I'm going to call her. Did you, I don't know, how did that moment grab you? Other than it being the first incidence of don't talk and the cell phone and drive at the same time, which is legit, folks. It is legit a problem. It is
legitimate. You got to be careful. Careful. Scully is not immune to distraction behind the wheel.
And this is a day, right? She's having a hell of a day. So, like,
she is just in her head.
She needs to go have a bath. Stat.
I agree.
Yeah. But again, they're really doubling down on the slow-mo and ticking, tapping sounds. The repeated sound there as the auditory moment.
Yeah. They really want us to know she's in a haze. Kind of just not with it today. She's not paying attention. She's not caring about things, not in a rude way, but just she's just not cognizant of what's around her right now. It's an interesting turn for her because she's always very aware, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a little bit different.
And even, to the episode's credit, not cognizant enough to realize that, you should probably not be driving,
Right.
He's kind of on autopilot because she's got stuff to do and she's a responsible person. But yeah, she's been thrown a real loop today and probably should not be doing what she's doing.
It's all that Mulder semen.
Is that what it is, Mike?
She has post-nut haze.
Oh, man. That could explain so many things, I suppose. Well, later on, Scully arrives at the address Mulder's given her, a nice home in the outskirts of D.C. She's greeted at the door by the woman at the hospital in the wrong room, 304, and they share a moment of recognition and awareness at the odd coincidence. Well, Scully explains her purpose, meeting Colleen Azar. Scully confesses she's a bit shaken, having been in a near car accident. And despite Colleen's kindness, Scully decides she is not going to engage. Colleen goes off to get her papers. She calls Scully out for not keeping an open mind, that she's already made a judgment on Colleen's research even though she hasn't even read it. She goes on to say that accidents or near accidents often remind us that we need to keep our mind open to the lessons they give, and that Scully may want to slow down. Oh, see what the episode did there? Slow down, slow motion.
Slow down.
Yeah. Well, Scully leaves, dropping the papers in slow motion by accident. Interesting sentence I just wrote there. So maybe she dropped them by accident in slow motion.
I purposely drop things in slow motion all the time.
By accident, she drops papers and we see it in slow motion. That is grammatically what happened there. One of the papers is an oriental symbol on a green crop circle, the heart chakra, and her ringing phone brings her back to reality. All right, so that's the introduction of Colleen Azar. What do you think of that character? I mean, obviously she's going to be dropping some exposition bombs later on, but is her first introduction? I mean, I like her. I kind of wish they had the T
very
now.
Friendly.
Yeah.
Do you recognize her, Andrew? It's been a while since we played this game.
It has been a while, so Mike, please tell me where we've seen this actor before.
Colleen Flynn. She was the nature lady from Detour in season 5.
She was not.
She was.
Well, I guess she was wearing short shorts in that one, so.
She's 10 times more striking in this episode.
Yes, she is.
Her hair is really popping in this episode.
It is giant hair, but it is the early aughts, so I mean, this is what it was. All right, that's cool.
That is good to see her again. Good actress, and I do like her character so far. So,
oh yeah,
good
so
stuff.
far. It'll go downhill for her later, but right now she's great. Yeah. Well, we're back at the hospital, and the gang's all here. Daniel, Maggie, Dr. Kopikian, and Scully. I like that name, Kopikian. That's a character I want to have in another show. Well, Scully's there to back up Daniel's request for prednisone as a drug for treatment, something Kopikian is reluctant to do. Mike, at this point, it might be worth talking about Daniel's actual condition. I mean, there's not much to talk about as the episode really doesn't explain what the diagnosis is, other than Kopikian telling us Daniel had an upper respiratory infection and chest pains. So heart stuff is the diagnosis. And at the beginning of the
he's
scene,
a heart patient in terms of heart disease, probably.
Well, but there's nothing given in that regard, so they're being vague about it. At the beginning of the scene, Kopikian resists prednisone because they're already giving him high doses of digoxin or something, which, Mike, is another name for digitalis, which you may know is used to treat various heart conditions. Well, it's in like overdose situations, bad, but in little doses,
right.
It's legit. Prednisone.
We just knew.
What's that?
I said we just knew.
We just knew. Yes. Call back. Prednisone is largely used to treat inflammation and various autoimmune conditions, and the good old AI suggests that modern medicine would not rush to use this as a treatment for heart conditions either. Rather, contrary to Scully's opinion, it could aggravate a heart condition due to an increase in blood pressure. But whatever, Daniel's the expert, and with Scully on board, Kopikian is defeated and leaves to prep the meds. Maggie leaves as well, still ticked at Scully. Well, let's...
Stay away from my dad.
You don't want you to have sex with my dad again.
She's just upset she didn't get her pony.
Been through some difficult times, and she's very angry.
How did she even find out?
There are things you don't know, things I'm not proud of.
What things?
I screwed up, Dana. Things got bad at home after.
Bad how?
I haven't been completely honest with you. It was hard for me. When you walked away, shut down from my family, needless to say, it was very difficult for Barbara.
You divorced?
After an interminable period of discomfort for us both.
Where did you go?
Here, Washington.
When?
Almost 10 years ago.
Daniel, you didn't move here from me.
I didn't mean for it to happen this way, of course.
Oh, God. You've come at such a strange time.
I know. You have a life.
I don't know what I have. Your x-rays are in the wrong envelope. I never would have even known you were here if it wasn't for a mix-up. It's just...
What do you want, Dana?
I want everything I should want at this time of my life. Maybe I want a life I didn't choose.
It's that time, everyone. The Magus Media Production sales pitch. Please check out our homepage at magusmediaproductions.net so you can stay up to date on all of our shows. Check out our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/Magus Media Productions, both of which have our Discord link on it, where you can join us for live shows as we record them for future release. At Magus Media Prods on X, our Patreon, patreon.com/Magus Media, where a $5 donation will help us keep the lights on and bringing you new content, and you get some stickers. Thank you for your consideration and support.
Daniel reaches out his hand to hers and they clasp. Scully struggles with her feelings, holding back tears as she leans her head upon Daniel's chest, his hand slowly stroking her hair. Daniel's heart, reported as beeps on the machine, serves as the soundtrack for the scene, but then it goes crazy as Daniel has a heart attack, and we cut to commercial. All right, so that was a big old scene. Another big bomb dropped by our parachute character. I guess he parachuted in with a bomb. How did that strike you?
I'm intrigued. As a fan, I'm always interested to hear about their past or something like that. So this was a bit of a bombshell, like you're saying. You know, she had this relationship, however physical or not it was. And since then, their actions have destroyed a family, and I'm okay with it insofar as I can see that happening. Her line, you know, maybe I wish I chose the life I didn't, or whatever it was. But
well, that's a callback to the opening, yeah.
Yeah, we've all been there. I'm okay with her having kind of a crisis of who she is at this point. You know, she did not choose to be on the X-Files. It has been a part of her life now for probably longer than anything really has. So I can still... It's not that she's unhappy per se, but she's in this mood where she's questioning everything. I think the scene fits and that line fits. I do know it can rub people the wrong way, but I think right now I'm still on board with what she's going through. Maggie's a little over the top.
Yeah, but they're trying to paint her legitimately. Like she's been carrying anger with her for a long time, and seeing Scully again just lets it flare right back up again. So I'm actually okay with Maggie as a character.
Yeah.
But this scene definitely hammers home this idea of the path not taken. I don't love that they call back the fact that an accident has brought them together. This falls into a category of episode which I'm going to christen 7 seasons in.
Oh,
Shit happens to Scully. I mean, this is probably the 3rd example where Scully is just living her life and something wacky and crazy happens to her. Chinga is the first and most obvious example, where she gets to go on vacation and just can't get a break. Some crazy hijinks follow her wherever she goes. Again, my explanation is that the episodes are, 5 or 10% of their lives, and the other 90% of them are going to the grocery store, having time in the bathtub, hanging out with family and friends.
Normal life stuff.
Yeah, normal life stuff. And we're seeing the exceptional bits because most people probably don't want to see the boring stuff, or it wouldn't have sold well in 2000. But so this app is another classic case of weird stuff happens to Scully. And this is the smallest of crimes so far, is the mix-up that brings them together. It's about to take a turn into Crazy Town. So, are you ready? Are you ready for us to continue?
I am ready for things to go to Crazy Town.
Okay. Well, we're back after a commercial in a medical emergency. Scully doing chest compressions. Nurses arrive at the crash cart, and we have one of the most abbreviated heart resuscitation scenes in modern television. Literally done in 45 seconds. 3 slaps of the paddles and a shot of epinephrine, and Daniel recovers. It's the same old trope we've come to hate. The paddles don't restart a stopped heart, but they do settle in arrhythmia. But hey, makes for good TV. So getting that out of the way.
Was his heart stopped? I know it was going wild.
It was going wild, which was, I was thinking, okay, actually this works. We're going to bring the paddles to settle that down, but no. And then it stops. So I got no pulse, that whole thing.
Oh, episode.
Which, epinephrine is a good choice. But it's chest compressions at that point. I don't think it's defib. So, it's literally called a defibrillator. Anyway. Time has passed as Scully buzzes on Colleen Azar's door again. It's not her that answers this time, but a blonde woman who will come to learn is Colleen's partner. She invites Scully in, and we get a gander at Colleen's decor choices. Lots of wood carvings, symbol, and sculptures. It seems to mesmerize Scully. Colleen enters, surprised to see Scully again. And to her credit, Scully apologizes for her previous rudeness and wants to ask Colleen about her comment about slowing down. They sit. Scully summarizes the plot so far with Colleen, that Daniel might be dying from a more serious condition than anyone realizes. Colleen dives deep, perhaps deeper than Scully's going to accept. People have auras, and what Scully saw in Daniel was pain that needs non-physical healing. When people hang on to shame, guilt, and fear, it creates an imbalance that makes us forget who we are. We have a moment where Colleen puts the moves onto Scully, putting her hand on her knee, but Scully is saved from this by the boiling of a kettle. Would Scully like some tea? Do you get that? I kind of got that. The whole close-up on the hand on the knee, and Scully looks down and has that moment of
the path not taken, right? Let me tell you, I'd watch that episode.
Yeah, fair.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
You apologize to our listeners right now for that.
How utterly stereotypically male that was.
Yeah, totally. All right, moving on. We get some exposition on Colleen. She was a closeted physicist dying inside. 2 years ago, she was diagnosed with cancer, but it was the wake-up call she needed. She was introduced to a healer, releasing shame, telling the truth, and her cancer went into remission. Scully is not convinced. Colleen understands and can only suggest
everything happens for a reason.
Mike, does everything happen for a reason? I think it happens because it's written that way. It's literally a script.
Well, if you insist on looking at television that way, Andrew, you're never going to be satisfied. You gotta break the barriers down a little bit. But yes.
Sometimes some X-Files episodes do a great job in making me forget that there's a script to play. And sometimes the script is very apparent.
Do I believe things are...
Well, I know you have a penchant for the philosophical, and that some episodes make you go down that path. And this is probably one that did so.
It did when I was younger, for sure. And it was one of those episodes where after watching, I was like, huh. I did go down kind of a mental rabbit hole of what would the changes be that you could make in your life if you did have the opportunity to realize, okay, this is a moment I'm choosing a fork in the road, which path am I going to take? I think that's a cool concept. And there was a point where I did And there have been multiple points. I'm not going to attribute it all to this episode, but
it changed my life.
I've been wistful before in my life. Where could I have been had I gone this route or that route? And yeah, I think it's an interesting and kind of cathartic way to look at things or deal with things in your own life if you're prepared to do so. It's not always good, but I had my time with it. It was an interesting ride.
All right. Well, we're back at the hospital now. Scully arrives with some flowers for Daniel, but she is intercepted by Maggie. Daniel's gone into a coma shortly after Scully's dramatic resuscitation. Maggie's angry. Scully left because of the damage she'd caused, but Maggie is holding on to that damage that was caused. Scully leaves, going into a slow-motion music video for the Moby song, walking through Chinatown with her bundle of flowers until she finds herself at a Chinese apothecary, the sign swinging in a gentle rhythm. She catches a glimpse of the same blonde woman, the old ghost blonde, and since there is no coincidence in this episode, she gives chase. But Scully is cut off by a bicyclist. She loses sight of the ghost blonde, but figures she must have gone through that green door. She follows and she enters into a secret Buddhist temple. It's both amazing and eerie, light streaming from above in a sanctuary of Zen. Distant horns provide the soundtrack as Scully kneels before a golden Buddha statue. She's rewarded with a mystic vision, her life passing before her, and finally she sees Daniel's naked body, translucent, his heart and respiratory system visible. Has she seen something, a clue to Daniel's condition? She awakes with a start to see the Buddha statue again, its eyes now open, and we fade to commercial. Well, that was a hell of a scene.
It was a hell of a scene. I don't know how to take that per se.
Oh, I know how to take it, Mike. Shit happens to Scully.
Shit happens to Scully. Again.
It's so like literally the script is like, follow this, go here, have this thing happen to you. It's like you talk about, the choices you make, but in this case, she is literally being pulled around by the nose by this plot.
Yeah. That's fair. That is a good observation. She is very much at the whims of herself because she's writing the episode. So,
yeah.
A little meta here.
It is pretty meta, actually. I think about it.
So, I'll save it for final thoughts.
Yeah,
this scene calls into question some stuff.
It does. Back from the commercial, we're at the hospital. We hear a man discussing his ability to manipulate auras and chakras to help heal a patient. We see a man moving his hands over Daniel Waterston's aura as Colleen and Scully look on. Dr. Kopikian enters, not at all impressed with the new hokey, new agey bullshit he's seeing. There is a bit of back and forth, but Maggie settles it, seeming to approve of Scully taking the alternative approach, perhaps happy now that Scully is acknowledging that she does not know everything. It allows the procedure to continue. The natural healer informs them that actually there's nothing more he can do. Daniel is ready to move on, but something, unfinished business, is holding him back, something he needs to release before he can move on. Mike, what could that possibly be?
I'm not sure. I think we need more extrapolation on this episode. I don't know that we can determine that based on the information we've been given.
Top 5 things that are not Scully that are the thing that is holding him back from moving on. You go first. What's the other thing?
Well, he finished with a bogey last week, and he is not happy because that was a par 3.
Yeah.
He blew it. Yep. He's hanging on to that one.
Yep. I think number 4 is mortgage in D.C. is not paid off yet. I mean, he's only moved here 10 years ago, so he's still got a mortgage on the house. He's got a mortgage. Yep.
And the wife saddled him with all the pets.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's harboring some anger and resentment towards her because she couldn't deal with his emotional distance.
Yep.
If she could just hold on.
Mm-hmm. I think number 2 is another student he's got the eyes for. Nice fill-in for a younger version of Scully. So he's kind of hoping that will come to something.
The last thing is kind of tied to that. No girl he's tried to date accepts his red hair dye gifts. No one. He might have, some emotional attachment to them, but they refuse to dye their hair red, and so he just can't get over it.
That's probably it. Okay, well, that's what this natural healer has identified as The things he needs to release before he can move on. Good list. Okay. We have a
The
brief
mortgage.
scene of Scully in her apartment, Scully at the hospital, and then it's Scully in the hospital bed. Scully wakes up from her dream to a ringing phone. It's Maggie. She needs Scully to come to the hospital, but instead of telling her why, Maggie hangs up. And as a side note, who does this? I mean, I know the episode needs it to happen, and I know Maggie's not an
Right.
especially nice person, but in the real world, you
need
would
you
say,
here. Click.
yeah, wouldn't you say, hey, good news, Daniel woke up. Isn't that great? Your wacky theory
Right.
did something, as opposed to, come here, he might be dead or alive. I'm going to keep you in suspense for 20 seconds.
Here's my thing with Maggie. Since we're on Maggie and this is her last real scene,
Do it. Yeah.
I'm okay with her making a turn. I'm not okay with how fast it happens. I need something to have happened between her and Scully for her to make that turn and be like, okay, I accept you now. Whether or not, it's 100% she's okay with Scully. They're going to go shopping next week. But just the hot and cold scene to
100%.
scene
Yeah.
is like, whoa. Okay, why do you accept Scully now? What did she do to prove to you? I'm okay if you searched your soul and realized it wasn't her fault your dad's the way he was after they broke up or whatever, but
We need that scene.
I need something because it
it's-
happens so fast.
Well, and Gillian Anderson has talked about kind of the backstory behind the episode. I think because she recognized that there was not enough time to tell this story. Like, you look at the length of the opening, right? It's a pretty brief open compared to some X-Files episodes. They needed to make it short because there's so much other story they want to tell. So
She's also said that they have shot, or they did shoot, like 10 extra minutes of dialogue between her and David that they had to kind of splice together and cut.
kind of happy they
So
did
I mean,
this.
there is a larger story for sure. But
But I don't know how much more we need to, I think it's sufficient, but it's really sufficient as well. It doesn't need any more than what they
no,
tell us.
absolutely.
Whereas I think that does mean other moments suffer, like, as you suggest, the relationship between Scully and Maggie. Like, there is a story there that they do not get into.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's too bad. Well, Scully arrives at Daniel's room, and yes, he's awake and looking much better now. She's relieved that he's feeling better, but Daniel is naturally skeptical about the natural healing. It doesn't matter. He wants to talk about her and about the future they might have now. But Scully's not going to go there. She's talked to Maggie. Off scene. It's time for Daniel to take responsibility for the hurt he's caused. And Scully shouldn't be the reason for him to go on. Maggie should be. So look at that. Not going to go back to the well, apparently. And you know what? She's got a new boy now. So thanks, but no thanks, Daniel.
Sorry, old balls. Not today.
You know what? If you were 10 years younger, you'd be in that nice age sweet spot that I really dig.
Well, here's the here's the thing. Scully, throughout the second half of this episode, is realizing she has a choice to make again in life.
Yeah.
Do I go with the weird nutbag partner I've had for the last 7 years, or do I choose the heart patient? my choices aren't very promising right now.
Is he rich after the divorce? I mean, he might not have a lot of time.
I'm sure he's doing fine.
Yeah, well, he's doing fine now, actually. He's the chakra stuff saved his life.
He's rich in spirit now.
He's definitely spiritually refilled. Yeah. I think it's a pretty obvious choice. Also, I think the real red flag moment is he moved here 10 years ago and didn't
Right.
reach out,
Didn't
It's like
pull
trying
the
to-
trigger and find her.
He's been getting
he
up the
just
nerve
moved
for
here.
10 years now.
But you know what? Exactly what he was hoping happened, or hoping would happen, did happen. She randomly ran into him, and now they can start their life together. That's
Okay.
exactly how it was supposed to work out. It just took a little bit longer than he was hoping.
You know what makes this a better episode?
Uh-oh.
It wasn't an accident. They switched the files.
Ooh.
It was literally, he slips him a $5 to swap it. So he sees Scully's name on an autopsy report. Who knows how? He's like, hey, that's not Dana Scully by chance, isn't it? And then she, violating patient confidentiality, says, yeah, Dana Scully. That's the doctor from the FBI. And he's like, oh, wow, cool. All right. Well, listen, here's a 50. Can you just swap the files and make it an accident? See what happens,
God damn it, David.
I think that should have been a thing, but it's probably in the missing 15 pages. So, well, that's the end of the David Watterson story. Are we ready to come on in for a landing here?
Yep.
And with that, Scully turns to see Maggie at the door, and with a final look at Daniel, leaves. Outside, Scully's alone with her thoughts as the world passes her by in slow motion, the camera slowly circling her. She catches a glimpse of the same blonde woman in the jacket and hat, ghost blonde, and then she chases after her, grabbing the woman by the shoulder and turning it around. It turns out it's not a blonde after all. Hey, it's Mulder. He's back. And he has a completely new fashion sense. Turns out there were no crop circles. It was all a waste of time. I call bullshit on that scene. I really hate that moment.
Yeah, the least they could have done was make that be Langley or something. Mulder's life comes crashing back into focus.
I would have loved it to be Langley. That would, if he's Langley through the whole thing, that would be great. Right? What are you doing here? He's got the look on his face like, so
I've been looking for you.
Yeah, I don't know what they did there other than we have to parachute Mulder back in the episode somehow. So this is our link. This is Spotnitz and Carter going, well, we got to circle in for a landing somehow, Gillian. And we've got one page to do it in.
You've been seeing a blonde ponytail for the entire episode. Mulder.
Yeah.
You've hallucinated everything.
You've been hallucinating. I mean, I'll save for final thoughts. Boom. That is probably my least favorite element is the ghost blonde.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up. Later over tea, Scully has recounted her experience.
I just find it hard to believe.
What part?
The part where I go away for 2 days and your whole life changes.
I didn't say my whole life changed.
You speaking to God in a Buddhist temple, God speaking back.
And I didn't say that God spoke back. I said that I had some kind of a vision.
Well, for you, that's like saying you're having David Crosby's baby. What is it?
I once considered spending my whole life with this man. What I would have missed.
I don't think you can know. I mean, how many different lives would we be leading if we made different choices? We don't know.
What if there was only one choice? And all the other ones were wrong. And there were signs along the way to pay attention to.
All the choices would then lead to this very moment. One wrong turn and we wouldn't be sitting here together. Well, that says a lot. It says a lot. I mean, it's probably more than we should be getting into at this late hour.
But Scully has fallen asleep on the couch. And since the episode paid a hefty licensing fee for the Moby song, we are treated to it one final time, as Mulder pulls a blanket over Scully in slow motion, brushing the hair from her face and leaving the sofa. The camera tracks over to the aquarium and descends beneath it, where we see tucked away a tiny golden Buddha sitting in the corner. And that's the episode, Mike. That is all things.
Yeah. Are we doing final thoughts? Or I was waiting for some direction there. We usually.
Oh, I'm sorry. Because we've never done this. We've never done this before.
Okay.
So yes, give me your final thoughts. No, we've done that every time. How is this not second nature?
It is. I was ready. I was just waiting for you to say.
Oh, you thought maybe I had.
Do you have final thoughts? I wasn't sure.
Okay.
So
well, I'm sorry for surprising you.
No,
Mike,
no, it's not a problem.
Please lay me with your lay me. That is not what I meant to say.
Whoa.
Lay on your final thoughts.
I like the episode.
That was a long use of the word like.
Well, I say that because it does have some clunkiness. It's not 100% necessary to have an episode like this, kind of like I was alluding to in the beginning. I'm not against the idea. I think she did a really good job of exploring a kind of crossroads that Scully's having. Again, hard to do in season 7, but I'm along for the ride, and I did enjoy it. My overall issue with the episode is, is she trying to say that you are unfulfilled if you are not spiritually... Mm-hmm. I don't know what the message is outside of be at peace with yourself, don't hang on to things.
Yeah.
You can wax poetic about what things could have been, but if you dwell on the past, it makes for a muddy physical being. I can understand, obviously mental well-being being very key into our overall health, but I don't know if that's the message or if the message is you need religion in your life to be fulfilled, or I don't know. It's a kind of a murky answer or question, I think, at the end. But overall, as I was talking about throughout the episode, I do like that last scene. It's probably my favorite scene because it got me thinking as a younger person, what could I have done? What path did I take? Am I holding on to something? So I did go through that. Again, I try to be a philosophical person. I try to dig deeper on issues and things like that, especially when it comes to personal stuff. So I totally appreciate this episode on that level. And we all have at one point in our lives kind of gone, what would my life be like if? Mm-hmm. So I think this does a good job of asking and answering that question for Scully. She realized that in the end, she couldn't go back to David, and that's fine. She has to be okay with where she is to move forward. And I'm okay with that.
I just to pick up on the philosophy there before I give you my final thoughts, I would say that we often forget when we're being retrospective, Mm-hmm. I think we forget about the reasons we made the choice we did at the times when there are crossroad decisions. You can sit there and go, oh, if I made this other choice, maybe my life would be different, or more importantly, it'd be better. Mm-hmm. But I think we make the choices we make sort of generally with the best information we have at the time, and they're probably the best decisions that we make. Yeah. Or literally, if you've got two options that are equally good, I mean, your life's just going to be different. It might not necessarily be better. So I think what Scully realizes is that she probably made the right decision by walking away, and that going back to him is not going to make her life better. It's
right.
That's going to become a different person. And she even says at one point, I'm a different person now. So,
and I'm glad she said that.
And I am too. I mean, I think that there are some inconsistencies in the episode. I say that a little lightly, but in that one theme, they do, she does an effective job as the writer to make it come home full circle and sort of get her point across. But the other stuff, and this is where I'll get my final thoughts. I mean, I'm kind of ambivalent about this episode. It's got a few sins that other scripts have suffered from, like parachuting in a significant character. She is kind of a tourist in her own life, and there are these plot hooks that don't keep up with the character we know. And this is my point of like, I thought we knew this character. I realized we were watching it as a series, but in 2000s, it was episodic. That was the main thing. Mm-hmm. I can deal with Daniel suddenly arriving unannounced. It's in keeping with what we know of Scully's romantic interest, that she's into older, powerful, protecting kind of guys. Reconnecting with him is the major plot push, but there's so much else going on that distracts from that. This artistic slow motion, the syncopation of objects that seem to be the pulse of the universe that Scully is spontaneously observant to, and the ghost blonde. I mean, don't get me started on the ghost blonde. She's dragged from one event to the next until the only action she's left with is to decide that maybe a natural healer is the way to go and save Daniel's life. I mean, this is a practicing Catholic with a scientific bent whose sister was all into natural healing, and she was the one who always poo-pooed it. So I'm like, this character does not do that. I just think that is such the weirdest choice to make.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm okay with her embracing something that may, it's okay to be a doctor and be Buddhist and think of natural remedies and things like that's fine. I would have appreciated, I think it's a missed opportunity for that point exactly. Her sister being a naturalist, a healer, it would have been very cool to see her struggling with or realizing that she was pushing Melissa away for this reason or that reason, and then finding the value in it because of Colleen or something, and then forgiving her sister or kind of moving on from how she treated this in the past with her sister, you know, kind of having that resolve in her to accept it on that level. I think that would have been kind of cool.
All of that. And unfortunately, there's just not enough episode there. You know, they literally can't pack it all into 42 minutes. So the final
maybe
scene
they should have made it 2 episodes.
There's not a lot of runway left in season 7.
Fight Club.
Oh, but it would have been good. The problem there is that because this is such a big, to my mind, a big shift in the character, and because it's not a serialized kind of show, we're not going to see the impact of this decision. You know, next week she's going to be your same hard science Scully, and yet this example.
That's a shame.
Well, I don't think we see it as episodes go on. You know, her new open-mindedness. I think she needs to be this way for this episode. You know, she, for whatever reason, Colleen Azar has convinced her that this is going to work for Daniel in this case, but not for anybody else. Maybe I can't put my finger on it. It just seems extraneous to the plot. Bothers me a lot.
Yeah, there are lines in here that make it sound more permanent than it is. And like you're saying, it's episodic. So this is Scully for today. And we accept that. But she says there's no accident, you got sick. Implying that she's like bought in completely with, okay, so because you're not spiritual. Yeah, exactly. Like you have to be religious or spiritual in some way to not get sick. I don't know if that, it's just a weird, clunky thing to say. I don't know. Which implies she's fully bought in, and I don't know that I agree with that.
Well, every episode we review from now on, I am going to have her character ask, you know, are you getting sick because maybe you haven't told the truth about yourself, or you're holding into
what secrets are you keeping, sir?
Yeah. Are you feeling very guilty about something? That's probably where your cancer came from.
What choice aren't you happy with? What's going on?
Have you got some unfinished business keeping you here? Yeah. So good try. I mean, there's a lot to like in this episode. I'm not going to say it's all trash. There's a lot.
No.
There's just so many misses that really hurt me. Hurt me bad, I guess.
Hurt you. Wounded you.
This wounded me on a personal level. I hate the show. No, it's just Ghost Blonde. I think that's the one thing that hurts me.
Probably the weakest part.
Yeah.
I like I said, I enjoy the episode for what it is. It's not one I come back to often, but I do come back to it sometimes for just if I'm feeling philosophical and I want to have that question at the end and I just want to experience that scene again.
Okay.
I'll throw it on.
All right. Well, look at that. Well, Mike, do we have any listener comments on this episode?
We don't.
Is that because you didn't do a Facebook post on it?
I didn't do a Facebook post. I'm sorry. God damn.
Folks, don't let that prevent you from putting your comments up.
Yeah, just talk about it. You know what episode's coming up.
God, take a little agency, folks. Don't just rely on us.
Jesus.
All right. Well, with that out of the way, Mike, that is going to be the end of the episode. Do you have any final words for our lovely listeners?
Ladies and gentlemen, be okay with the decisions you make, or you will get sick and die from heart failure. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked what you heard, please rate and review on your podcast app of choice. Andrew and I would be eternally grateful to you fine people for helping us expand and get the word out. Also, we've got a killer group on Facebook. Feel free to join in on the discussion at facebook.com/groups/thisisnothappeningpod and become an official member of the syndicate. We do polls and we have questions for every episode to give you guys the opportunity to chime in and possibly let your voice be heard on our recordings. And please join us on our new Twitter at TINHXFilesPod, no dash, to stay up to date on everything, moment to moment. Thank you, and remember, don't stop swimming.